Now to these stunning revelations about thousands of banned chemical weapons in Iraq kept secret by the Pentagon, now possibly in the hands of ISIS militants. The New York Times reporting on a huge stockpile of illegal munitions left unsecured at a complex now controlled by ISIS, and there is growing evidence that ISIS could be using chemical weapons against the Kurds. Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, Fox News strategic analyst, with me now. How are you, Colonel? Good morning to you. It's a long story.
Well.
It is very detailed in the Times, and your reaction to it is what, sir?
My reaction to it is this is perfectly timed before the election to try to divert attention from President Obama's countless screw-ups. Look, this is at the heart of this story. There is the military may have mishandled 1 to 2 dozen cases of U.S. troops, no fatalities, who were exposed to chemical weapons during the occupation of Iraq. And it looks like just bureaucratic clumsiness. There's no vast right-wing conspiracy in this. But the New York Times, look at the timing. It's above the fold, front page, 4 full pages inside the paper. And there's some good reporting in there, and a lot of jumping to contusions, as the Bowery boys used to say, connecting dots that don't connect. And I truly believe that the timing is a pre-election attempt to divert attention from Obama's reckless deployment of 4,000, not 2 dozen, 4,000 largely unprepared U.S. troops to Ebola country in West Africa, to his mess up of his utter screw up of the air campaign against ISIS, his screw up of Ukraine, his screw up in Libya, and it's just not going to stick.
Well, I tell you, Colonel, if you look at that story, that thing took weeks to put together, if not more than that. It was that detailed. Here is John Kirby, Pentagon press secretary, earlier today on screen for our viewers. Quote, "The Defense Department made public its discovery of these munitions as far back as 2006 and acknowledged the likelihood that more could be found." I don't necessarily remember that in 06. Do you?
Well, no, I don't remember it, and we'll have to see about that. But look, if there was some sort of low-level cover-up or some sort of cover-up, I certainly don't blame the military for that. I'd lay that probably at the foot of the neocons. But really, I can't stress enough that while we have to take care of every soldier and take these cases seriously, this isn't the huge scandal the New York Times is portraying it as. This is, to me, a political stunt. And look, the New York Times, Bill, as you know very well, has a really good reporting staff. The news reporting is generally really good. The editorial pages, commentaries are abysmal. And unfortunately, it looks like this time the news staff got co-opted by the editorial impulse to protect Obama. And by the way, let's just get it out and also say that there is no great threat from these old weapons, from them getting the hands of ISIS and being used against the U.S.
No threat.
Well, no, I'm not saying no threat, but very small. Certainly a lot
just
smaller
put that
than
on pause. Here's Paul Bremer on that very topic 1 hour ago with Martha here on America's Newsroom.
The question is whether they could be used effectively as a weapon. I think probably not. It sounds like they're fairly corroded and degraded, still dangerous to the person who handles them, which in this case would be IS soldiers. But I think it does raise the broader question of how we're going to deal with the threat posed by the Islamic State. That is really the key question before us now.
I'd imagine you'd agree with both those points then, Colonel.
Yeah, well, Ambassador Bremer is right. No other rounds degrade as quickly as chemical weapons do. They'd be the greatest danger to any ISIS militants handling them. There is a remote possibility they could use some against the Shia neighborhood in Baghdad. But, Bill, it is easier to build fresh chemical weapons than trying to refresh and re-weaponize old corroded weapons, which are just plain dangerous. So again, I think look, let's take care of the troops that may have been exposed or were exposed to chemical weapons, but let's not pretend this is the greatest scandal in history, when again, we've got bigger scandals to worry about on every side in this administration, including, I'm going to stress again, to me the great untold story here is this. President Obama, one time in his entire term in office, made a prompt decision about sending U.S. troops into a crisis zone, and that was about Ebola. Premature, unprepared, and boy, I hope they'll come home safe.
Well, you can make an argument on Libya, too. That was from the air. Ralph Peters, thank you for your time, sir. Out of Washington.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Colonel. Martha.
So back to politics here at home, where we are